Welcome back to another episode of John the PM, where we believe that delivering projects is not just a job, but a way of life. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about communications. Why? Because most projects or project teams, whenever they're doing their lessons learned, they say, "Oh, I wish we could communicate better on that side." Now, on a personal basis, I really don't like it when people say we need to communicate better. Why? Because it's too broad. What I like to do on a personal basis is to break it down. We all should be familiar with the communications model sender through the medium, you have your receiver, and then you get some kind of a feedback loop to say that they have heard and read or understood the message. And that kind of completes the communications loop. So we should be familiar with that model in and of itself. But I like to use that as a basic framework. You know what? Next time you're with your team doing a lessons learned, somebody brings up communications, go over to your whiteboard. I'm assuming you have a whiteboard, and go and draw up the communications model and say, hey, folks, specifically, where was the breakdown? Was it the sender? Did the sender actually hit the send message? That happens a lot sometimes. You draft up a wonderful email, but you never hit the send, or it got caught up in your system, whatever may be the case. In other words, the message was not sent. Or maybe the message was sent, but let's say that you left a voicemail, but you did the voicemail while you're driving down the highway at 60 plus miles per hour, stay within speed limits, but your windows were down, the top on your convertible was back, and you had a bunch of gushing air. And so the person on the other side, all they literally heard was shh as they're going through, and therefore your message was never sent or delivered in the first place. Again, sender. Let's look at the medium. In other words, the noise. So you have your signal noise ratio. Did the signal actually make it through the noise on those areas? The car example is a pretty good example of that. Your message might have been perfect in the beginning. However, as you're going through the medium, you discover that the message was altered. Another great example of that could be the telephone game. Hopefully you know about the telephone game, but just in case you don't, let's say, we used to play this as children or, leadership development team workshops as well. But you get 5 or 6 people kind of lined up, and then you say a message verbally. And then what you oftentimes find out is that the message that the first person said, by the time he gets to the 8th person, has been altered. Maybe not by on purpose, but by accident, on those areas. So that's just another example of the medium that could have occurred. So was the medium actually appropriate? Receiver. Was the receiver in a place where they could actually receive it? That includes your emotional state, just as a matter of fact. Or it could be the idea that the receiver is getting ready to get on an airplane and all they have is a small PDA and you sent them a dissertation. It's impossible for them to read it, while they're getting ready to take off, into wherever they're going on the airplane. So was the receiver actually ready and prepared to receive the message? And then, of course, a feedback loop, some kind of a, hey, thumbs up. We did get the message. We're all good. I heard and understood what you're saying. Or did you not receive anything? In either case, again, I would put that up on the whiteboard when you go through it and just, very fairly detailed. Just very well, it's detailed, but you should go through it fairly quickly and ascertain exactly which part of the communication actually broke down. It might be a case where you ask the receiver to say, hey, just to kind of make sure that you receive a note, send back an emoji sign that says thumbs up, or something of that nature. Or your team could actually tag the note so that it kind of says that it's been open, in email systems. Or just as a feedback loop to ask the individuals to repeat back what you said. Whatever is appropriate or whatever kind of works. If you find out that there's a problem with the sender, maybe make sure that the sender is in an appropriate location to send the message. Maybe there's a technical issue with their email system where notes are just not going out. Or the receiver, again, there could be a technical issue. Here's just a real quick story. One time, with my business partner, I was sending the individual a note, on that side, and they kept claiming that they weren't receiving it. Well, lo and behold, what was happening was that the email note that I was sending was being deleted by the system due to some kind of a hidden macro. It actually did take us a while to kind of figure it out, and two, to solve it. So it was a lot harder than what it seems. Nevertheless, you can have things like that to actually occur. Hey, this is just supposed to be real quick. Hopefully, you found that this to be helpful. Again, next time you do your lessons learned, you come back, somebody says communications, don't be afraid to go up to that whiteboard and kind of script it out and get to what the root issue is or what the root cause are of the communications failure. If you found this to be helpful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us to be a service to you. Why? Because we want to be the hero to the hero, and we believe that you're the hero, and we are here to be guides and mentors for you during your journey. Thank you, and may all of your projects be successful.